Hello, my name is MooingCat and welcome to part 7 of this guide on how to start a brand new world. You can find all the other parts of this guide in the written version or the video playlist linked in the description. In the previous video, I talked a little bit about the different options you have for progressing. In this video, I will talk a little bit more about how to actually implement your choice. So depending on your choice, you can skip ahead to the timestamp in the description. Now, regardless of your choice, I do recommend that you unlock Brewery next for the Friends Tavern. I recommend that you get that and start working on leveling that up as quickly as possible. If you are on a brand new world, this will go really quickly early on because there are a lot of active players. If you are on a well-established world, it will probably take a little bit longer, but that's no reason not to get started as soon as possible. Alright, let's talk about staying in Bronze Age first. If you decide to stay in Bronze Age for a bit, it doesn't matter too much which order you do technologies in. After unlocking Brewery, I recommend going for the expansions first. On the screen here, you can see a recommendation. You don't have to follow this strictly, but it is something I probably would do myself. If you want to build goods buildings, that's completely up to you. You can decide to go for those as well. This will be different depending on which goods boosts you get on the continent map. Now, if you do plan to get goods buildings, you should probably also upgrade your huts to chalets. I recommend doing this anyways, regardless of what you're planning. You are entering into a more relaxed period now, so moving to a longer collection will be nice. And also, the more population you get from these, the more space you can use for other buildings, for example, for the blacksmiths. For example, here you can see how my city looked after a couple of days of staying in the Bronze Age, with 30 blacksmiths allowing me to do 15 recurring quests per day and getting my coins from a few chalets, but mainly from quests and aiding players. Now at this point you will also see that I have gotten a tavern for happiness. If you need even more happiness, you could, for example, replace the stone struggle with a second tavern. That's up to you. Eventually, you could also perhaps place some paths when you unlock those. You could also build trees if you need more, but ideally you will not do that because they do eat up the aids you get from other players. Now, if an event is active at the time, you might be able to get some buildings from there. And if you do, I do recommend more or less always building it in your city. Even if it's only a level 1 event building, it's usually much better than the houses you can already build. So I do recommend getting that if you are able to do so from an event. The very first event, you might not be able to do much, but if you are able to spend the free currency for perhaps a level 1 building, that is really nice early on, and then you can replace it later on when you do need the space again. After unlocking all the Bronze Age technologies you want to unlock, I recommend preparing all the 3 Iron Age technologies for when you do decide to move up. Alright, if you want to age up to Iron Age immediately, I recommend following this path here. Now, at this point, from where we left off in the previous part of this guide, we need 32 forge points and 8 wine to move up to the Iron Age as quickly as possible. We do this by unlocking Militia, which will give us daily challenges, and also Soldiers, which are really good units to use. Now, how fast you're able to do this depends on a few factors, but if you have been able to, for example, pick up a few 5 forge point packs, or if there is an active event going on, you might even be able to unlock this right away. If not, you will at most have to wait a bit over a day, though you should have enough coins now to buy a few forge points if you want to speed things up. Now, after unlocking the first Iron Age technology, I recommend building some soldier barracks and also starting the first daily challenge. You're not guaranteed to be able to complete it, but hopefully you are, and hopefully you do get some good things. The main thing you're looking to get early on is forge points, so if you do get an option, I would choose the forge point options from the daily challenge. Anyways, after unlocking the first Iron Age technology, we now have to go back and do quite a few Bronze Age technologies in order to unlock the next Iron Age technologies. You need 45 total forge points for this and 5 stone. So this will take you anywhere from a few hours to 2 days, depending on how many 5 forge point packs you get, if there is an event going on, if you get a lucky daily special, and so on, and how many forge points you can buy. Now, once you do get to this point, I recommend focusing on unlocking settlements. They are a great source of early resources, and of course the buildings are really nice early on. You do need 30 lumber, 20 stone, 16 marble and 20 dye, plus some Iron Age goods to get there. So what you didn't manage to get in Bronze Age, you now need to either trade for, or if you can't do that, you probably have to take some time off to research and build a Bronze Age goods building. Now, when you do get to settlements, the settlement buildings do cost some coins and supplies to build, but you also get a lot in return. And outside of that, the settlements are not linked to your city power at all. So despite being a baby city, settlements won't be harder to beat. As for which settlement to choose, you should choose either Vikings or Egypt. Personally, I prefer Egypt because it's an easier settlement to play, the secondary reward is better, and I do think the main building is on par for an early city. The units you get from the bathhouse will probably help you more than the boost from Yggdrasil at this point, but you can definitely choose Vikings as well, or even switch to Vikings after one or a few playthroughs of Egypt. Now for the middle ground of moving up to Iron Age after a few days. Now instead of going for Militia immediately, you instead do the Bronze Age part, build up all of those technologies you need, prepare the first 3 Iron Age technologies, and then make the move. This makes things a little bit more balanced. You have time to produce a few more goods, either through recurring quests or possibly even through goods buildings if you do decide to get those, which probably will mean you have an easier time moving forward in Iron Age. Now, once you do get to Iron Age, my recommended path is exactly the same as for moving up to Iron Age immediately. I would focus on unlocking settlements first. So outside of the technology order of when to age up to Iron Age, eventually after a couple of days of being in Iron Age with both of these methods, there's not really that much of a difference, so the city will look more or less the same, regardless of if you move up to Iron Age immediately or if you move up after a couple of days. Now, regardless of which strategy you went for, if you want any more guidance beyond this point, I will not make any dedicated videos now, but you can refer to my videos from last year, where I also started on the brand new world that was released then. My plan then was to go for higher age units, and in those videos you can see the start of my progress for that. But even if you don't plan to go for higher age units, the first couple of videos are more or less the same as just a regular progression through the ages. So if you want a bit more guidance on that part, on how to continue forward, those might be some inspiration for you, so you can check those out. They are linked in the description, or you can find them on the written guide as well. And if you do want to go for higher age units, then I definitely do recommend checking out those videos, as well as a written guide or written guides I have on how to get various different higher age units. Alright, that's it for this part. Hopefully you found it helpful. You can find all the other parts linked in the description through the playlist or the written guide. And with that, let me thank my Patreons before I end this video. I would like to thank Homestar, Fort Prefect, Lorden, Rockinobin, Kim Cayley, Rolf the 8th, PQ the Goat, Dan Suminad, JT, The Rev, Merrick B, Hugo Count von Count, Jan Fredriksen, Jude the Generous, Filda, Rush, Susan Weiss, Megarock, Rocco, Eric, Henrik Dare Klerberg, Mattia, Upshy the Obsessed, Raf, Kim, Adaril, Mike, Wolfboy, and Flavius Belisarius. Thanks a lot for watching, take care, and I will see you in the future.